Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello.
Your daughter's here today.
I know, she's gonna sing and just along with some other great students from Whitefish Bay Middle School. It's gonna be really cool, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But on a more somber note, so there are these 3 women and 1 child who's 6 years old, after 10 years, found in a Cleveland, Ohio home. They had been abducted, and one of the girls called for help, screamed out. A neighbor came over, called 911, and basically rescued this woman. And as a parent, all I can think about is, let's say you have a child abducted at 15. They're found 10 years later, so they're 25, and they've been through this soul-searing event, like basically robbing people of their human soul because they've been chained and, you know, whatever. And I think, how do you reconnect with even your child after that long, and the pain that you feel?
Yeah,
you know?
and you want to take away their pain and do all those things. Nobody wants to even imagine what was unspeakably done to anybody who's been abducted. But I think what's important for parents is you know, when these kinds of situations come up, they offer very teachable moments for parents to talk to their kids.
And that's why I'm glad you're focusing on that. As Miss Minnesota, we've talked about this before. You focused on safety. Some of it was online safety, but also physical safety of kids. So there are a couple of things I remember you telling me about how to keep kids safe.
Yeah, for 8 years I was a national spokesperson for children's personal safety, and so it was something that we did. We went into schools, went into organizations, everything, and spoke to adults and children. And there's 2 tips that I think are the biggest take-homes. And the first one is a program that's actually been started by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's called Take 25, and what it means is just take 25 minutes to talk to your children. Basically bring up some of these issues and give them teachable moments, things that they can do to make sure if they're ever in a situation that they feel uncomfortable, they know how to react, and they also tell someone. So,
and you know, it's 25 minutes, and you think, well, I've got 25 minutes, but we avoid it. We don't want to scare our kids. It's uncomfortable. You want to say the right things, but you got to do it. I mean, what could be more important than that?
Right. And one of the #1 tips that they say is, if your child is in a situation where they cannot find you, you're in a store, you're at a fair, you're at Summerfest, whatever it is, they can't find you, there's one person they should go up to.
And I thought, when you first asked me that, I remember the first time you told me, I thought police officer right away. But that's not the answer.
First instinct. That's not the correct answer. Not that they're not great, and police officers always get upset when we say this because they are good people to go to. However, people can get uniforms online that look that way, and it's a common use. So the best person to tell your child to go to if they're lost is a mother with children.
The other thing I like about that, I always think I look safer when I'm with my kids. Younger kids are more approachable and that kind of thing. But you might not find a police officer. You're always going to be able to find a mother with children. And I think that's a really good tip. The other one has to do with those child IDs, because I had my kids do all the fingerprinting and a photo, which you've got to keep updated.
Yes, and that's the #1 thing that you can have on hand is a current photo. So many people have the school photos, and maybe they're a year old, or they don't look like them because they dress up that day. But also, if you can have a photo where they're not smiling, because the reality is, if they are abducted, they're not going to be smiling. And also make sure that you do a full ID. You know what birthmarks they have, where their moles are, if they have braces, glasses, and all those pictures are current, because that's the #1 way that your child is brought home safely.
I like that.
Off that picture.
Important stuff. I like it. Switching gears a little bit, every month Tiffany has a tip on, it's kind of like cleaning up, getting you know, rid of clutter. And May's tip we're going to share with you right at the beginning of the month so that we don't forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
The tip is to declutter sports and camping equipment. Okay, that's something that we do. They say storage tubs, you know, can be a lifesaver, and really, if you compartmentalize a lot of these items, like your cooking pots, your stove and utensils, your tents, all that stuff, keep a checklist of everything that you have and make sure it's handy. But just make sure that you declutter and you get all of it organized.
I'm gonna confess something this morning.
We love confessions.
A little true confession, and I'm gonna hope that my parents are not watching today.
Okay.
So, Mom, Dad, turn off the TV.
I'm sure they
Go
are.
ahead,
since your daughter's here, I'm sure they're not watching.
Hey, here's my confession. I hate camping. I hate camping. And you know what? Just saying this out loud.
How do you feel?
It has freed me.
Do you feel better?
You know, if there are granite countertops and like a chef or something, I'm all about camping.
Hotel camping.
But I camped my whole life as a kid. My brothers loved it. You know, my kids like camping. I hate camping.
Carol Barrowman has given you the thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay.
What about like
Feeling
RV camping? How about like an RV though?
No.
No?
No.
See, I camp in an RV because I love a good like bonfire where everybody's roasting their marshmallows and their little dogs on the stick.
But you gotta like in an RV there's a toilet and you gotta like do stuff with that.
No,
and
you leave that up to the guys.
Yeah. What'd you say, Katie? Oh, yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
That's what she said.
Our producer just said, you're taking time from your daughter. So she goes, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
On today's show.
You'll still get your spotlight. Don't worry, honey. On today's
it's Mama's time right now.
It's Mama's time. On today's show, I love farmers markets. I mean, who can beat the fresh fruit, the veggies, homemade jams, and flowers? Well, we're going to have a how-to guide on these popular local treasures.
Yes, and as we've been telling you, the cast from Whitefish Bay Middle School is here to sing live. This weekend, they performed The Little Mermaid on stage.
Woo, woo. And an alternative to liposuction.
I don't think they need it with their little
None of them do.
Swimsuit mermaid bodies. All right, well, if you're thinking about putting on a swimsuit soon, you might want to consider this non-surgical way to slim down so you can put some seashells on.